Hello, everybody. Welcome to NinjaChris Silly History, and I welcome you for this month's show. We're pulling into the station because we're on about the history of trains, and I hope you've all had yourself a wonderful month and you're all looking forward to some trains. Now, who likes trains here? I definitely like trains. I always like to have a look at them. Used to play little games on them. It's always a bit of fun because you find a lot of like Facebook apps or something. You want to play around with the games and stuff. You want to just have a reason to play about with trains. Because modern day, you don't really like playing with train sets anymore. They're too much. But you can get all these online AI games that look very cool. It's a good space saver. So yeah, I hope you're all ready and I hope you all enjoy your trains because we're going right back in time before a train was even named a train. So I mean, we're going back to the ancient times here with they weren't called a train, but they were essentially a trackway, which in the future would have obviously led to our trains. But basically, what a train is, it's set on a path. It's got a set path and it will go back and forward and back. So when you're in the like the 4th century BC, they started building them as roads that they just went backwards and forwards, basically to get their products and stuff. It was good for trading, I believe. Obviously, I wasn't exactly there to know, but it was their version of a train track. It's what they knew. Just went back and delivered the product, and then they had to go all the way back. It was, from what I've read, it was better than what it once was because before they got to this sort of track and wheels and stuff, because that was something that they also invented. So it was really the age of invention in the Neolithic, but it was that kind of age. So you were just before you headed into like the Iron Age and stuff like that, where they got metals and stuff. So basically, a lot of it was all using wood and stuff. But hey, I'm good. Sorry. Sorry, I needed really having one of those chesty. But yeah, sorry. Yeah, it was all they were all used to that thing back then. But before they got to them road things, they used to have to put them on pieces of wood. Basically, they use it to roll it along, but then they had to move that one to that one and then keep it rolling. It was a very, very awkward situation. So they decided, let's make a wheel that will just roll them along, essentially make your first wheelbarrow or such and such, whichever way you want to go for it. And that was that millennium where everything just kept growing and growing. They got wagons and stuff, which is where the wheelbarrow situation sort of comes in. But then fast forward through that, you get to 600 BC, where they had the Diolkos trackway, which was a specialty one for the Greeks on used to haul ships through the Isthmus of Corinth. So that was a nice little pathway to deliver stuff because a lot of things around that time was using water. So there was a little track in between that isthmus, which used to haul products around. So it may not have exactly been a train, but as you'll find out, that anything that carries products really can class as a train back then. As such, it was very, very interesting that they used that one, but it's a good one. And unfortunately, during that time, it was doing very well. But then we got into 100 AD, where the Romans decided to take over, essentially. So they went and built their roads, but their roads were more free roaming. So people forgot about trackways and stuff. They wanted to be able to move, basically, because they thought Roman roads were more practical, because you could change your direction to whatever you wanted. Because obviously, if you're on a track, you can't just go, right, this time I'm going to take that route. If your train does something like that, it's probably not exactly on the track for sure. So yeah, we want you want rails to make it a train eventually, which you eventually did. But the thing is, during the time after 100 AD, they did still use tracks and stuff, because they had it underground for mining. Yes, up above with the roads and stuff, they did free moving and pushing across, and all that stuff. But below ground, when they were doing all their mining, they had rails, tracks, pushing these wagons around. They were still using it. So the idea of rails and train tracks and stuff hadn't disappeared, but they were more hidden. So because of, obviously, the roads, you're gonna pick a road where you've got free moving. Makes sense, I think. But trains did eventually make an appearance again, because it was during the Holy Roman Empire, where they finally bought tracks back. In 1460 was when they had that eureka moment. So they basically saw what was going on in the mines and thought, we could get that actually up on the ground. Why have we forgotten about this? We've got these roads, yeah, but surely they can work together. And they used them as well to transport and stuff. I don't think they transported people. I literally think it was it was essentially a modern freight train, that sort of thing. But yeah, it got us out. It got them out there a bit. And yeah, so this in 1515 was the first official vernacular train, which is a Reisug vernacular, which is where modern day Austria is. But because it was the Holy Roman Empire, well, when he got to 1515, it's Maximilian I as the Roman Emperor. When it started in 1460, Frederick III was the Roman Emperor. There's a bit of useless information for you. You don't really know who was emperor, though. We're coming into that time during the Holy Roman Empire where he was starting to fall apart, and it was where the Austrian Habsburgs were really in power. And I believe that they were digging up the old stuff, because there was a lot of skirmishes and wars back then. So they needed to produce stuff quickly, so they had an advantage over their enemies. Like common battle situations, you're gonna want to get it all sorted. And in the 1550s to 1560, it started getting worldwide, and people were starting to get that into the world. It's funny, I forgot to mention something there. The thing that they had underground, they actually had a name for it. They called it the Hund, which is the dog. Because, well, Hund is dog in German, I believe. Oh, well, that's what it said when I researched it anyway, funnily enough. So, yeah, that's how we got the stuff over, because with Queen Elizabeth, she wanted to take advantage of getting some produce. And trains, I suppose, were getting an idea. I suppose you needed to keep things running, keep fires burning and stuff like that. Okay, that's a good bit. Anyway, I think I need to go and say hello to some people here. There you go. Hello, Anna. How you doing? Good to see you here. Terry, good as always to see you here. Mowley, hope you're having a good day. I'm looking good, am I? Oh, yes, thank you. I'm looking good. The train has arrived. Yes, think Pink, Claire. Hello. Sorry, it just says think Pink. Then I have to remember who you are. So yes, it's you, Claire, for sure. Yeah, got you. So yes, Mowley. Yep. It's me just trying to play the memory game here. Where are we? Yeah, I've had a good weekend so far. I don't know. It's good. It's good. Hope everybody's all right. The gentleman suggests, yes, the gentleman isn't actually here. It seems, Mr. Stephen Smedley, I believe, he selected this topic, one of his favourite things, and he doesn't seem to have arrived yet. Maybe his train's late. Oh well, sorry. That's what. It's the first time you've seen the sun in a while. Nice. Yeah, enjoying the sun. Yeah. So, I'm guessing it's all cold where you are, because the sun comes out, but it still feels cold. I suppose it's very, very weird sort of conditions, I suppose. But yeah, we're looking at trains. So yeah, this was kind of what I was mentioning was the bit that was kind of before the steam engines came in. But there was a guy who started a steam revolution. Now, please understand that quite a lot of my information is me searching for British railway. No, we're not putting Wales on a track. That's going to help no one. Most of I'm going to be looking at with railways is from a British perspective. So if you want to add your country's perspective, by all means, I welcome you to do that. It's just I find it easier to focus on one country, and it's my own. So, because there is a lot of stuff like in Switzerland, though, I have noticed they do some wonderful train services, and it can be quite snowy there, but it looks so cool watching them glide through the mountains and that. So, obviously, the Germans are pretty good at it. The thing is, they didn't actually call them Germany when it was the Holy Roman Empire, because officially Germany never actually existed at that point. But anyway, looking from my British perspective, we have the steam revolution, where Thomas Newcomen he invented the steam engine in 1712, and we got metal reinforced tracks in 1760 of where wood and iron come together, because the track part where the flanges go across is metal now, so they changed it to iron from wood. Though we do still have wood on the tracks part, so there is still wood there, but to make sure the train or the carriage is more likely to stay on there, they have to make it metal, which is all good. It still works today, even though today I think they're starting to get an idea to remove the tracks altogether, because I know I'm jumping the gun a bit here, but we've got trains like the maglev trains, which is basically magnetic levitation trains, so they don't even actually need a track because they're levitating from the track itself. So, and yeah, they're not really focusing too much on them, but you get them in Japan and stuff like that, like the Shinkansen. I feel like I'm going backwards through time. I go to the modern time and then I'm going backwards. But yeah, the Shinkansen is the high-speed train. That started in 1964, so we found those. Though I know, I'm going ahead and I'm jumping ahead. I'm sorry to do that, but I thought it was interesting to look at the fact that they were building the tracks. They've literally only just worked out how to efficiently put the tracks together. Now we're trying to deny the track, sort of, or going hybrid, which is a good one, which is bi-mode or tri-mode. It's one of those. We'll get around to that at some point, though you might already know what I'm on about anyway. So either way, where was I? There, yeah, Thomas Newcomen. Yep, he invented the steam engine in 1712. But unfortunately, it wasn't good enough to move vehicles and stuff. And actually, I don't think it was actually originally made to do that. I think it was just to heat things up or something like that. But then when James Watt and his partner Matthew Boulton got together in 1775, they were partners, and they improved the steam engine from 1765 onwards. So they work together, and then they keep moving it along. They keep going up from 1765, and that's brilliant to get them. But the thing is, he didn't actually put the steam engine into the machine. What's wrong with me? Yeah. Well, we've got then the steam locomotives when they got started. Obviously, we've got the early pioneers of this. We're looking mostly at Trevithick. Got this guy named Richard Trevithick. I don't know how it's meant to say. I'm sorry if I butchered his name, though he's not alive to have a go at me. So, yeah. Either way, Richard Trevithick is one of those who, well, he's the first one who actually put a steam engine in a vehicle to help it move. The first one he made was called the Puffing Devil. Being a Christian, that's a difficult one to take, but it was essentially a steam car which didn't really go very far. And then he went for a pint, and then literally he went for a pint and then came back out, and it sat on fire, and he'd blown the engine. Well, it set fire to the engine. What a numpty. But anyway, then the first actual real successful one on rails was in 1804. Was his first steam locomotive, which is the Penydarren locomotive. I think it might be Welsh. I'm not sure, but because the words, the letters seem like they're in an interesting order. Anyways, that was the locomotive he made, and I think it went okay. But I think he went and had a pint again, and it just blew up. I'm not sure which one it was, but one of the research says that he went off with his friends and had a drink, and then when he came back, he'd realised he'd left the engine running. And then it set on fire and all those things. So, yeah. Then he made the Newcastle locomotive in 1805. That was his third of them. I don't think that went down too well either. I think Richard was just a bit of a drinker, to be fair. But he did have quite a successful one then when he made the Catch Me Who Can train. It was a bit more of a party circus thing, where it was the first one where people actually paid for rides on there. They actually paid to go on there, which was nice. So it was essentially the first fare was taken. Anyway. I think that's most of... Yes, I know. I was just about to get round to the Puffing Billy. That was 7... I believe that was 1813, though. So, again, it sounds like we're all jumping the gun here. Oh, you've had a lot of rain, have you? Oh, well, I hope you're all taking the proper precautions and everything, and you're staying safe. Yeah, so yeah, I will get to the Puffing Billy. You're about 12 miles away from Abbey? I don't know. But yeah, they seem to have liked to do a lot of puffing back then, I realise. But yeah, I was going to go for the Salmanaca in 1812 was the next one along. This wasn't by Richard Trevally. I'm not totally sure who made that, but it was the world's first commercially successful steam locomotive. So it was a world one. It was something from around the world. I think it was like a European sort of build, maybe Italian or something like that. Not too sure. And then, as Anna has already pointed out to me, the Puffing Billy is next on the 1813. And then the next train along was 1825, when you had the locomotion number 1 in 1825, which, funnily enough, was when they had the first public railway in Stockton and Darlington, because they got a railway in 1825. So I'm wondering if that's where that was used. Maybe it was a test one. I think they were just testing that locomotive out. So I think it worked okay. And there, Well, this is where the train history usually begins with George Stephenson and his rocket, because he started that in 1825 and finished it in 1829. And George Stephenson was considered the father of the railways. So, yeah, so he started everybody off, really. But it makes me wonder if he really was the father. But, yeah, I think it was because he actually made railways. He actually started off making them, because in 1830 the Liverpool and Manchester Railway was made, which was the first intercity line, because it was basically a more long distance, because the Stockton and Darlington was more public and local, probably like a commuter train that you've got. It goes a short distance, stops at every stop. But they were really happy when they got the intercity one, which was almost straight through, which is very nice. Since that all got started, we had then Isambard Kingdom Brunel, who founded the Great Western Railway, the GWR, in 1835. So we were getting railway stations gradually eased into the world. And is it me, or when you see a steam train, they feel more authentic to you? Because when you see all these modern trains you've got now, I feel like they've lost their authenticity as such. But hey, yeah. Oh, Aberystwyth. Ah, I got it. Sorry, I'm not great with the shortening of words, but either way, as long as you're alright with that, thing is, I'm sure. Yeah, exactly. The big old steam trains, because you feel like they are authentic. This is what a train's meant to be. I don't know what it is about these modern style locomotives and trains. It just doesn't feel right. But the trains are more passenger based now. I think when they were doing steam trains and stuff, it was more for delivering stuff and everything. Not many people were being passengers at that point, though they did obviously have passengers. It's just the fact it took a lot longer for people to get there, I guess. But early on in there, because a lot of people, I am sure you've all heard of the Flying Scotsman, which came into service in 1923, which was made famous by a guy called Nigel Gresley, who just made it famous. And this Nigel Gresley has actually got an actual train named after him called Sir Nigel Gresley, which you find quite a lot with the more older steam trains. You find them named after people, because King George V had his own named one. So this was the Great Western Railway doing this. It's quite interesting stuff. There was also a name of a train called Blue Peter. It was named after the winner of the 1939 Derby, which was a peppercorn A2. But the peppercorn A2 is a kind of ranking or a filing system back then, because the A1s to up to A3 were all during the racehorse era. So when you hear the names of the trains, they're essentially the name that you would give to a racehorse. Because, yeah, Blue Peter, Flying Scotsman was the name of a horse. There's one called Hermit, the Papyrus, and the Gay Crusader. Yeah, but anyway, then when we got to the A4, then we got to A4. That became the bird era. This is why you love the steam engines, because they have names. They don't have codes. They're named, and it makes it feel so cool. And the bird era, and quite a lot of people know the mallard. I'm sure you've heard of the mallard, the golden eagle, the bittern. I've never actually heard of that one, but that one came up on, and that one actually just came up on research. I'm not actually sure if it's real, but I assume it is. But I've got to trust my sources. And then there's one called the Union of South Africa. Now I did check that one. That one is a real train. So I think they made that because we were in trade with South Africa and at around that time. So, and the thing about trains is they like to bring back names, and the A1 style or this was the A1 name because it had not been used for a while. They like to recycle them, but the thing is, it gets get a bit confusing sometimes, because at the A1 had a rebirth, and if you remember, the A1 was the racehorse era, and this A1 train that was made in 2008, and I think it's still in service, it's called the Tornado. I suppose you could technically call a racehorse Tornado. Maybe there is. I'm not really a racehorse fan, in all honesty, but back then that was what you had to work with, I suppose. You like to do racehorsing and stuff. Yeah. Oh. Hey, drink again. Richard Trevithick have no issues with him calling his invention the puffing devil. No. I know that one of them he did have blow up though, because he didn't care for it well enough. So, but yeah, I don't know. I suppose it was hard back then with the steam engines and stuff. You had to be careful anyway, because they could overheat, I suppose. You can't win with it. You can't win with everyone. But either way, in 1804, Trevithick managed to get a steam engine working on the rails. You love the old steam trains as well. You associate them with Agatha Christie and Sherlock Holmes adventures. Oh, I've only ever seen the modern Sherlock Holmes versions, and they usually have cars and stuff, and they're running around the city and everything. They don't really use trains, but I think I can remember that they like to use steam trains in movies. All walks of life were so much harder than we have it now. Yeah, well, everything seems to be hybrid, electric and diesel together. The funny thing is, though, electric actually came before diesel. I always thought diesel came through it first, but when I found out that electric actually came first by a guy called Werner von Siemens, he made the first practical electric train in Berlin, funnily enough. He did that in 1879, so we still have electric trains. But then the diesel trains got bought out in 1912, but didn't really get hit off until like the 1930s. That's when diesel trains started to kind of overtake electric, but they kind of joined forces. Technically, that's how you see it. They kind of join together because it's like you had to plug it in or something to keep the power, but you also had to have diesel to help it along as well. So the electrics helped power what was inside the systems, I suppose. But hey, I am surprised that Steve hasn't shown up yet, because I thought this one would have been the one that he would have definitely shown up for. Here in Pennsylvania, you still have steam trains that one can ride in the Strasburg near Lancaster County and the Hope and Ivy Lane in Bucks County. I'd love to hear more about the trains in America because they did look fairly interesting. I just didn't get much in the way of their names, but I noticed there was quite a lot in I did find that there was quite a lot from Pennsylvania and Britain imported across quite a lot of it during the time that they were in. They kind of got helped across because obviously we had our colonies over there during that time. So we were happy to share our technology and stuff. And that's fine. That's fine. I don't mind having a sharing of technology. It's funny. We had the London Underground made in the 1890s, so, which is, well, I'm sure if you've been on the London Underground, it's underground and obviously requires a lot of electric. So it's all right. It's usually attached to a pole or whatever it's called. I know it's something. You like the sound of a train whistle of the American trains. Okay. You've always wanted to take a train across the US, having dinner like I've seen in the movies. Such fun. Yeah. Suppose you'd want a longer distance train at that point, because they're the ones who have cars and stuff. They have dinner and stuff, and you probably only get that luxury if you pay for first class or something like that, because you've got different varieties of passenger trains, because you've got like the commuter train, which is very short different distance. It's like getting the bus, essentially. You just go in a short distance, and whatever stop you go past, it'll stop at that stop regardless. And then we've sort of mentioned the high-speed trains already, which are also named a bullet train as well, depending on who's using it. But when all said and done, it's a high-speed bullet train. So, and the first time we got that was the Japanese Shinkansen, which actually I believe got up to 186 miles an hour, which is fairly quick, I think. 186 and 300 kilometers per hour as well. So it's pretty fast, you know. It's pretty fast. It should get you where you need to go. Unfortunately, in Britain, we've got all these high-speed trains now, and we can't go above 125 mile an hour. We've got high-speed trains that could probably. We've got high-speed trains that can go about 140 mile an hour. It's like we want to go further. It's like, no, you can't go any faster than 125, or else we won't be able to read the signs. I mean, it's fair enough. I accept that. They have a valid reason for saying to stick to the speed limit. It's not just for cars. The trains have to stick to the speed limit as well. You recommend watching the Jeremy Brett Sherlock Holmes television series, which is set in the correct time period. I keep getting into drinking. Also, I think I've had a bit of the sniffles as well. A bit of the snozzers. I don't know. I've just invented that word. That word probably doesn't even exist in the languages. But, yeah, I like watching like the Sherlock Holmes with like Benedict Cumberbatch. Though I also liked Elementary, which was an American TV series, which was, well, I believe it was Sherlock Holmes style in that. Yeah. So, yeah. You've always wanted to train a scene. Yeah. You like the sound of the train whistle. Like at Kitten Academy, you have a train track running by your house. I've gotten so used to that, you don't hear the sounds you used to love. Yeah, trains, they just kind of quietly zoom by. You love traveling by train as you can see the scenery outside one's window. Yee. You can hear a freight train and scepter trains a little distance from your apartment building. You know, there's one thing that I did. I didn't realize that British trains were split up into rail classes, and I had to go. I went through the whole list of them. That they all have their own purpose. So you've got the locomotives, which are basically class 1 through to 99. That basically means the front part doesn't have to be connected to carriages. So it's not a multiple unit. The locomotive can do just as good because the engine's in the front, basically. You can separate each individual bit off. But when you get into the 3 digits ones, they're multiple units. So basically, if one part breaks down, the whole thing can't move. You can't just separate the carriages off, so they can hook you to a new one. Once one part of the train breaks down, because the engine's underneath, so when you get to multiple units, it's great because they can move together and you don't have to worry about. But once it breaks down, you're stranded, and you have to wait for some recovery vehicle. So when you come along, so when you get from the 100s to 199 classes, they're all standard diesel multiple units, which don't travel far, and they've got a mechanical and hydraulic transmission. And believe me, I'm not a technical fellow, but they probably didn't travel too far because diesel was a hard one, I think, to keep all together. I think diesel's very, very rickety and crackly. It sounds, I don't know, it sounds like a tribal theme maybe. And then when you get to the class 200 to 299, they're the diesel multiple units with electric transmission, which is the DEMUs. So a DMU is the diesel multiple unit. The DEMU are the diesel electric multiple units. Yeah, got to get the wording right with that one, which includes some of the trains that are probably ridden on before, the Voyager classes, the 220, the 221, the Meridian 222. So I've probably ridden on those because they're cross-country trains, I believe, something like that. So they're diesel and electric. And with the 222, that one's being replaced with the 810 Aurora that we've got now, which is one of the high-speed bi-mode multiple unit trains, which is good. I like the hybrid mode. It's really cool because it means it can travel further, because you used to have to kind of plug it in and sort it out. So the Meridian wasn't as quick as well. But when you get to the 810, it's like when it runs out of wire above, it then can just switch to diesel mode and it can continue going at the same speed, and you won't notice the change. Which is, I think, is very, very, which I think is a cool thing that you can do with that. So the 800 classes are basically a hybrid mode. The 700 class is also on the modern electric multiple unit, where it uses the dual alternating and direct current. So yeah, most of it's electric. After that, the 300 up to the 599 is mostly just electric, nothing else. But it's how the electric is delivered, because 300s to 399s are the AC overhead. But yeah, they're all electric from that point on, and they use DC and stuff. The fun thing is there's the class 900s as well, which are almost like they're using rejected trains, and if you see them, they'll be painted yellow because they're departmental trains. They basically maintenance vehicles, so they're basically locomotives that haven't got a job anymore. But if you're out at night, you'll probably see them cleaning the tracks or something, or making sure the track is doing okay. It's still doing okay. I mean, Echo, we're at 48 minutes already. Sheesh. Is it me or has time flown just flown by at the moment? I hope everybody's enjoying them. I hope everybody's enjoying themselves, which is good. But time has definitely flown by. See, the kittens are doing all right nursing, I believe. So trains to Aberystwyth only have 2 carriages. Nice. I'd love to go on one of the modern trains. There's definitely something I'd love to try one of the modern trains out. And a friend has constantly kept offering a ride, but unfortunately he's quite busy with what he does, and I kind of just like to leave him to it. If he offers it to me, great. I like the good thing about Derby is that we're the home of trains. We're the home of fixing them at the lit church works, whatever they call it works. What church do I go to? Derby City Church on Curzon Street. Sunday mornings at 10:15. Why, are you planning on coming and seeing me? You come to church tomorrow if you like. It's open to anyone who can get there. Even though I'm usually in the building at about around 8:30 anyway, so I'll always be in there doing my quiet spying mode. Mine using ninja mode, essentially. Just sitting there and watching the room, keeping my eye out on everyone. I don't even know why I'm making these glasses, because I'm wearing my own glasses anyway. Am I an idiot or am I an idiot? Don't answer that. That's not that's a rhetorical question. Please don't answer. Oh, I already know what you're thinking, probably. I was going to look at the timeline of a bit far. That's all right. You can find a church in your own area, unless you've already going to one, then that's a moot point. But it'd be nice to see some of you sometime, but because you all live quite a distance away from me, it's hard. But I'd love to see you guys. I like these opportunities where we get to chat with each other. I get an hour with you guys, and you get an hour with me, of which my hour is nearly up. But I have definitely enjoyed chatting, and I definitely enjoy the world of trains. And Richard Trevithick has definitely done great work, and Rudolph Diesel, who was the maker of diesel trains. It's good to have a catch up. Yes, it is, Mowley. I like it. Be careful what I wish for. Can you imagine us ladies descending on you en masse? Well, I wouldn't exactly. Well, oh, thanks for the nightmares. I'm joking, of course. I'm sure I'll see you one. I'd see you one by one or something. Very informative. Thank you. You are most welcome. What's next month's topic? Corfu, I believe. I believe that's where we're going next. We're actually traveling to Greece. So, or the part of Greece. So, I hope. Unfortunately, I'm not actually traveling there. Could do with a holiday, but I've never left England. Never really gone any. Never really needed to travel anymore. Got nobody to go on holiday with. What's the point? We're not exactly big travelers, but one day maybe I'll have an opportunity to travel. I think I'm just a bit scared and get a bit anxious about going somewhere I don't know. It's getting over that hurdle of the unknown. It's a tricky one. But yeah, I enjoy life. I enjoy doing stuff, and it's nice. I enjoy going to church. That was 2.5 years ago. Was the change of my life. Really, it's just one of those that I like to keep going back and having myself a reality check, because where I came from wasn't a Christian. Now I'm doing so much, and now I'm doing all this for Derby City Church, and I still feel like I'm not doing enough. But I worry about burning myself out if I try and keep doing. If I keep trying to add new things because I think I'm not doing enough, I'm going to have no room for anything. I'm not going to have any room for me, which is one thing that is required. I need to be me, I think. You love to learn about Corfu. Reminds me of the Durrell family, for whom lots of books were written by them about their adventures on Corfu. A great television series was made about them, which I highly recommend. Fair enough. Sounds like you're already up on the history of Corfu, though I will still do my show next month. I do occasionally. I do think I need to slow down a bit with some of the stuff that I do. I do feel probably it's just I don't want to get caught in my own bubble again, because them negative thoughts creep in. So I'm worried about stopping. So these sort of situations are good for a distraction for me. Going to church on Sundays, I find that much better than I did when I first went there. I was first panicking because I didn't know what to expect from going to church, being as a non-Christian. But now look at me. I'm part of an outreach team, part of an all-in service which is for people with mental health, and I'm part of the team there. So, and I love it. I just love doing things with the church. I mean, I think they appreciate my attendance as well. So, and I just don't want to stop because I don't want to lose what I have. And what I have is a lot more than what I used to have. But yeah. Sorry, I didn't want to turn this into a self-help stream currently. I'm doing good. Spring is coming soon. Yeah, is that March? Is it March or April? Is it April the 28th or something? Or am I getting something wrong? I think I'm wrong, aren't I? Quite wrong. March is... Yes. Yeah, March is tomorrow. But I was just wondering when is meant to be the first day of spring, because I know it's meant to have an actual day, isn't it? Though it won't. Though I don't think it feels like it's gonna change. Hopefully, my march to town tomorrow will be dry. I'm worried about it raining. Hopefully, it doesn't. It behaves itself. But recently, I have no control over what the weather will do. But it is what it is. The clocks go forward sometime soon. Oh, do they? Is that the good one? Is that the good one? Or is it the bad one? I never know. March the 20th is the first day of spring. The clocks go forward next weekend. Don't we usually change our clocks before you? But nobody's told me that I'm changing the clocks, so it must be after. I don't know. My mum usually keeps me apprised of what we're doing, because I ain't got a clue half the time. But anyway, I think I should probably say thank you. You change the clocks next weekend. I think I should just say thank you for everybody who has shown up and everybody who shows up and watches this back in the future. It's been a pleasure to broadcast this stream, and it's been fun doing it. As you've noticed, I really enjoy doing it. Just a reason to let myself go. So, yes, everybody take care of yourselves. Thank you, Claire, Mowley, Anna, Claire again. Thank you. You've all been absolutely incredible. Thank you. Bye, everybody. I've got to go. I leave you all behind to face the truth. Okay, goodbye.